Welcome everyone once again to the Spanish Breakfast Show live on YouTube Spain. I'm Skatz, and in today's show I'll be talking to a self-employed man in Granada province about becoming self-employed in Spain and how to register, how long it took, and loads of hints and tips for making the most of it. If you're looking for information about how to get the self-employed visa, that's going to be in a few weeks' time. Today is about what happens after you arrive in Spain. And as usual on this program, you can ask your questions live right now in the chat box, or if you're not watching live, in the comments below. Either way, I'll get you the answers you need. My lovely wife, normally, who is on the chat, normally is busy today, so I'll be keeping an eye on the questions. If I miss your question, do please ask again. Some of you have already asked questions on the Facebook groups. Thank you for that. I'll give you a mention later on, and we'll answer them as we go on. By the way, you can support this channel by getting a hoodie or a t-shirt of your own. We have U2 Spain ones, and we also have these ones. Ting! It's a Ting-demic, and that's relevant at the moment. They come in various colours, etc., and they're t-shirts, mugs, phone cases. The link to the merchandise page is in the video description below, so thank you in advance if you want to do any of that. So, without further ado, let's meet my guest for the day. It's Stephen Proctor. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Skatz. You okay, mate?
I am. I'm very well, thank you. It's a pleasure having you back on the show.
Thank you.
So we talked last time about running a B&B, which is what you do, and we touched a bit on being self-employed. So this time we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of what it's like to register and what you found out in your first couple of years. So let's go back to before you moved from the UK. So this was before Brexit, of course. So
yes.
What did you have to do in advance? Did you have to do anything in advance to be ready for registering as self-employed when you arrived?
No, which might surprise a few people. Obviously, as you just said, it was under the EU route. Actually coming into Spain or before to register, you don't actually have to do anything. Now, you can get your NIE number, which is a start before you move to Spain. But for EU nationals, it's actually better just waiting until you get into Spain itself and then set up with your HESTA an appointment at your local police station. And then you pop along there, fill out the form, and you get your NIE straight away. But for EU, like for EU nationals, you don't actually have to do anything before you physically get into Spain.
Okay. Well, that's very easy. So once you've arrived in Spain, there's all kinds of things that you need to get. I've got a list here with an NIE number, TIE card, registering as self-employed, getting on the Padron, there's health cover, maybe getting a car. So give me a basic list to start with for our watchers, and then we'll go through them in order and have a look at the details.
I'll try and be as brief as I can. Basically, obviously, you don't get a passport stamp or anything, so that's not relevant. First thing you do is find your HESTA, sort your HESTA out, be happy with their fees. The first thing they'll do straight away is set up your NIE appointments. You do need that to do any tax activities in Spain. No NIE. You can't start doing anything really. You need your NIE. Go to the police station, get your NIE, very easy. What they'll do on your form, they'll write your NIE on, and about 2 weeks later, they'll send the certificate out to you. But you can start straight away once you get your NIE number. With that down to the self-employment side, that you then set up an appointment at your local job centre and sign on. And a bit like signing on job seekers in the United Kingdom or in Ireland, what happens then, they will give you a number. You take that number on the form straight to your town hall, and then the town hall will then physically sign you up through the town hall and give you a digital signature. You then take that then documents to your HESTA. Your HESTA will then sign you up with a social security office. They will then give you a sign-in update, for example, 1st of August. And then from that date, you can start your self-employed activities. Then you're now in the system. Once you're self-employed, that means you're automatically entitled to your Spanish residency, and your healthcare cover starts straight away. You get a certificate with your application when it's signed up. You go to your hospital or your local health centre, they'll assign you a doctor, they'll send you out a card, a health card, And with that paperwork, you would then go and apply for your Spanish residency at the police station. The Spanish police will then check you out on their system that you signed up as Autonomo. They'll stamp a little green card, and that's your residency card.
Okay. Is that the same as the TIE?
The TIE is for non-EU nationals. Okay. That is a different system. What they give you here is a silly little green card, which, to be honest, is a bit of paper. You keep it in your wallet, and you have to show that if you've got an ID card, or say if you're from Ireland, it's your passport, and you have to present that each time.
Okay. And you didn't mention the padron. Is that at what point do you get that?
The padron is when you are either renting a property, or you've bought a property, or you've moved into a property. The padron is important for your local town. To be on the padron, in Loja, for example, every adult that's on the padron, the central government will give Loja €1,400. For a child, it's €900 a year. You can go on the padron once you're in Spain and you've got your rental contract for your property. You go to the town hall, you pay a small sum, maybe €1, and they'll put you on the padron. It's very similar to an electoral roll in Britain.
Yeah. So at what point would you do that on your list that you've just given us?
Once you've found your property. You can do that before the self-employment and all that. You don't have to, but you definitely have to be on the padron before you apply for residency. That's no padron, no residency. Okay. So yes, I'll probably do it once you've moved into a place for ease of use.
Yeah. Okay then. So let's flesh out what you've just said and talk about. So the first thing you said, you go to the dole office.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, because you have to sign into the dole office to give you the tax number. They'll just ask you what job you're looking for, or what job you're going to set up as. I've set up as a waiter, for example. It can be anything. They don't actually care, providing it's a legal job. I set up as a waiter, bed and breakfast, and then they'll give you a tax code which is relevant to your activity. So if you're going to set up as a plumber, it might be 0034. For the tourism, it's 0068. And they just put you into an activity, but it actually isn't that important. It's just to get you into their system.
Right. Okay. And that's not the same as the NIE number?
No.
People might get confused with that.
Yes. Your NIE number is a tax identification number. It is not the same as, let's say, in the UK as a national insurance number. Your NIE will be on your driving licence, it will be on your residency card, both EU and non-EU nationals, but it doesn't work as a national insurance number. It's a tax number the Social Security Office will give you when you sign up as self-employed. Your HESTA keeps that number as well, but no, it isn't NIE.
Okay, good stuff. There's also a digital certificate. Did you get one of those?
Yes, very useful, people. If you're here, get a digital certificate. Give that to your HESTA. So your HESTA can do your day-to-day activities on your behalf. Maybe apply for a grant, if there's any grants available for your business. If you're in the olive business, for example. With my wife and I at the moment, obviously, because we're self-employed and with tourism, we're on self-employed aid at the moment. Your HESTA can do that on your behalf. If you don't have a digital signature, it means having to go every time and sign in things. Digital signature, fantastic.
Very handy.
Probably one of the most useful things you can do, yeah.
And your HESTA can give you advice on how to do that.
Oh, of course, yes. All that, if you've got a good HESTA, your HESTA will make it so smooth. Obviously, my HESTA in Loja, Antonio, is very good, and he just gives you step-by-steps. You just do this, do that, and do the other. You just follow the rules, and they'll make it as plain sailing as possible, and they keep your file for you. Once you get a digital signature, you don't have to do too much else, really.
Mm-hmm. That's brilliant. Yes, we met Antonio on this program a couple of weeks ago, and that was brilliant, very helpful.
So good guy.
If anybody wants to watch that video, you can find it on the channel very, very easily. And by the way, if you think you're getting good advice from this video, do click on the like button. We like that. Put the thumbs up. You can put the thumbs down if you want. Okay, just use your thumbs. So let's. Anything else we need to sort of fill out from that list? Anything you need to explain a little bit better? What do you do at the town hall?
Yeah, see, once you sign on at the job seekers allowance area, like Social Security, you do then go to the town hall. And to be honest, it's quite simple. In pre-COVID times, you could just turn up. At the moment, you would have to make an appointment to go to the town hall, but they tend to be very good. And to be honest with you, you don't actually have to do anything. You just give them the forms, and the town hall clerk will do everything for you. They will type you into the system. They will link your activity to your address, and it will take 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And then they'll give you about 7 sheets of paper, which to you and I and everyone else looks, you don't even know what it's about, and then it's just for your HESTA. There'll be another code on there, and then your HESTA will give the Social Security office that code, and then they'll start taking your contributions from your bank. It is very painless, people. As an EU national, setting up in Spain is very painless. It took me 2 hours.
Wow, that's very handy. At what point do you set up your bank account? That's something else that wasn't in the list.
Now, bank accounts, they used to be very liberal here, but before 2008, with the 2008 crisis, they split the bank accounts into 2. You can set up a non-resident account or a resident account. Now, setting up a non-resident account is quite easy. The only potential issue you have when you become a resident, that account has to close. They're not allowed to convert it into a residency account. You physically have to close that account down and set up a brand new account with residency. Mm-hmm. There's no other way around that. I become resident first, so the account was in my name. When Mandy became a resident rather, that was okay. She could just put her name on. If we had a joint account as non-residents, once I become resident, I had to be legally taken off that account. They are very strict with that, and that is every bank. But setting up a bank account here is quite simple, actually. I personally recommend Kaiser Bank. They're the best bank. Or Carrera Rural, which is an Andalusian bank account, a bit like a building society. But it's not bad. It is a pain. If you want to do everything and start your business up for residency, you can. It's just when you get residency, you have to close the bank account down and reopen it, right. Which is a bit of a pain. It's not. Mm-hmm. It'll take you about half an hour. The bank will do it all on your behalf, and the bank they'll swap your direct debits over as well and your money. Mm-hmm. It's just a pain to do that.
And what do you need to set up the account? Do you need the NIE number or anything else? Padron?
Non-resident, it's just a passport, nothing else. The residence account, yes, you need your passport and your residency document. And also Padron as well, because that links you to your residency, and it also links you to your house. Non-resident, it's simple. It's just literally a passport number, and you can do that. That's easy. Some banks will have a time limit on non-resident accounts, 6 months, 9 months. Other banks will let you keep them open, but every 2-3 months they'll stop your card working. So you have to go into the bank, explain that you're still a non-resident, and they'll open up your card again. That can be a bit painful. But as EU nationals, if you're not in a rush to start your work straight away, you might as well just get your paperwork in, get your EU, your Spanish residency, then do it. If you want to start your activity straight away, then I would recommend open a non-resident account, do your job seekers bit, do your Padron, register with your HESTA, and start your activity straight away.
Okay, Can you do that with a digital account?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can set up a digital account too. That as a non-resident. As a resident, no.
Okay. Right, then. Okay, so any other details before we go on to things like invoicing and expenses?
Invoicing. No, I think setting up, we've covered all that. Yeah, that's quite fine. When we go to, obviously, we'll talk about invoicing in a minute, but no, it's, you'd also, as an EU national, if you're setting up as a sole trader, you don't have to show money in a pot in a bank account. You don't have to do that. If you want to set up a partnership or similar to a limited company, you need a minimum of €3,200 in an account. Once you do that, then they'll let you set up as a limited company and a sole trader. So you don't have to prove a cent. They'll just let you set up. But if you want to set up a company, you do need that minimum amount in the account. There is a rumour going around for reducing that to 1,000, but nothing's been said. So we'll see.
Excellent. Actually, let's go to one of the questions that I got from online. Let's see. This is an easy one for you. James Thompson, hello James, says, can I move to Spain on a permanent basis to set up a B&B? That's an easy one for you.
It is. First, the big elephant in the room, what passport have you got? If you're a European Union national, absolutely. Come over and just set up. It's that simple as an EU national. We're not really touching non-EU because I know you're going to be doing that in a couple of weeks, but non-EU, it's not that simple. It's a nightmare. You need qualifications in it. You need to show a large amount of money in the bank. We're talking tens of thousands of euros. And even then, if you can prove that, Spain does have a cap on how many self-employment visas they hand out. I don't have the number, but it's not a lot. And that is every non-EU country in the world fighting over that. If you're an EU national, sir, it is easy. But in Andalusia, also, you need to get a license. What they'll do, you fill out the form, send it off. They will come and inspect your property. If they're happy, then they'll give you the thumb up. At the moment, though, in Andalusia, they're not handing out certificates at the moment, licenses, because of COVID-19. Also, I would not advise anyone to come here, especially to Andalusia, and start a bed and breakfast without a license, because if you get caught, it's a €30,000 fine, mandatory. If you go to Aragon, near Catalonia, there's no licensing system.
Okay.
You can start up from day one. They don't care. So the local rules, you do have to check. Here, when we signed up, it was simple. It was very simple. Did it through the Hester, did the documents. We got briefly inspected. The only thing they're interested in Andalusia is you've got a window to every bedroom, a first aid kit, fire extinguisher, and very randomly, a Salida sign above your door. That's all they're interested in. After that, they didn't really care. Obviously, we had that, and she wasn't even here 5 minutes. She says that she had a look round, did that. She went, perfect. And that's it. They tend to leave you alone then. They leave you alone for life unless they start getting complaints. If they start getting complaints, then they'll come and visit you and check if everything's okay. But I was told when she left, as far as we're concerned, you've got this tourism, it's for life, and enjoy running a bed and breakfast. Sorry for that long answer, by the way. That's
perfectly all right. No, that was very, very full answer. Let's answer the other two that I've got on the screen while we're on. We'll do the bottom one first. Mark William Worth, hello Mark, says, do you think this Autonomo system is outdated and needs to be pay as you earn, which is a system that is reputed to be coming in soon?
In my humble opinion, I think the Autonomo system in Spain is an absolute disgrace. This current system is grossly unfair. Now, the problem with the system here, everyone wants to choose the minimum contribution. Now, the reason we do that is because after you've been here 2 years and the discounts are finished, you're paying €286 a month. Now, For us, in the summer, if we're busy in normal times and stress, that's quite comfortable. We can pay that. In the winter, if you're only earning €400 a month, they don't care under this current system. You've still got to pay €286 a month. It's a scandal. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're in a business and you're earning €100,000 a year, you still can choose to only pay 286. It's wrong. It's a horrible, horrible system. The proposed system that's coming in is fairer. It's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. It's a little bit more complicated. But what they do with the new system, I'll briefly touch it. At the beginning of your quarter, you make a prediction how much you're going to earn. So in the winter, me and Mandy might say €500, for example. You will pay a lower sum. If your prediction's correct, that's fine, you carry on. But say if you've got someone who wants to stop with you for 3 months and we've earned a lot more, we then have to tell the tax office that, and then they will automatically bump you up to another tax rate, and you have to pay the difference within a week. That's the new system that they're proposing. But being an Autonomo here is very expensive. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I know there are people who are just they go from being a family to being a single parent, and then they end up with a wage that's very, very low, and they just can't afford the monthly amount, really.
Yeah, it's whoever thought that this was a good idea, with respect for doing cloud cuckoo land. The system is a disgrace, and that is why Spain does have a black market, and it's massive. We've just brought in a law for self-employed people. You're now not allowed to pay anything over €1,000 in cash. That's now illegal. It's got to be through bank or transfer, because they want to get rid of the black market. The Spanish government, in my opinion, when you're Autonomo here for the first year, you only pay €60 a month because they discount the fee. In your second year, it starts rising gradually. €60 a month? Yeah, it's a lot more than the UK, for example, but I think that's quite a reasonable amount of money. €60, but €286 when you're only earning, say, 500. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. It really is.
Anyway, so let's just have a look. We've got something on the chat that's come in. Mohammed Iqbal. He says, "Hi, anyone living in Spain having a visit visa of the EU can switch to self-employed category."
No.
That asks more questions than it. Yeah.
Mohammed, if you're thinking you can come in on a visit as a non-EU national and switch, no, you can't do it. That's just not an option. You basically, if you want to come in as a non-EU national, you have to go through a massive process. You have to have qualifications in what your activity is. If you don't have qualifications, you can't do it. It stops you straight away. You then have to do criminality checks. You will probably have to have the best part of €100,000 in a bank account that's traceable. So, and even then, they will look at your application and compare it to other people who want this visa. And if there's other people who may have more qualifications or more money, they will pick them over you. So I'm afraid you simply can't do that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I've seen some solicitors sites saying, yeah, we can swap you over from a non-lucrative visa at the end of year one to a self-employed visa, and it's just not that easy. And I think the take-up rate for, you were talking about there being a cap, I think the take-up rate is something like only 25% of people who apply get a successful conclusion on that. So
absolutely,
I think it's possible, but
it's possible, but you need cash. you need cash, and you need to be qualified in what you want to do. It's that simple, to be honest with you. Whereas if you're a European Union national, you don't have to prove any of that, because under the treaty excise rights, freedom of movement, you don't have to prove any of that.
This is true. Let's do this last question on the screen here because this moves on to invoicing. So that's nice timing. Catherine Jane Holmes. Hello, Catherine. She's been watching for a couple of weeks as well, and she'd like to know about filling out invoices for venues, please. She's she's a musician.
Okay, that's pretty simple. It's very similar to the British way of invoicing for venues. You can even do it in English if you want to, Catherine. That's entirely up to you. It is easier if you do it in Spanish, but the Spanish authorities allow you to invoice in English. Basically, briefly, it's your name and address at the top, your NIE number underneath. Under there, your count, so say 01/2021, and you count your invoices up. Underneath there, you need to put the address and NIE or tax number of the venue you're working for. Then a brief list of your activity, like musician or actor or something, for example. There are 3 tax rates here. In fact, I'm lying, there's 4 tax rates. There's a 0 rate, there's a 4% rate, a 10% rate, and a 21% rate. Your HESTA will advise you when you set up what tax rate you are. For example, bed and breakfast, we're 10% tax rate. Musician is a 10% tax rate. If you're a teacher, it's a 0% tax rate. And you have to put that in your invoice, split it down, and at the end, you legally got to put firma, which means it's finished, and you do a physical signature. That's how you set up an invoice.
Okay, and you just add that IVA onto the fee.
Yeah. So if your fee is €100, you're on a 10% tax rate. You just add that 10% on. Subtotal at the bottom, 110. The venue will have to pay the VAT to you on your behalf. So they'll pay you 110. They don't hold it back. When you go at the end of your quarter to your HESTA, say, for example, your VAT, your IVA, comes to €200. What happens then? The HESTA will calculate all your deductions. Say, for example, if you have to drive, it's 50% of your petrol, 20% of your electric, depending what your activity is. Say if your deduction comes down to €160, then within 20 days of the end of the quarter, you pay what's due, which would be €40 IVA, and you pay on your customer's behalf. Very simple. It's a very simple system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else you need to tell us about invoices?
Yes. With regards to companies, and for example, we have to buy food in for our breakfast. Receipts are no good in Spain. I know in the UK you can get a receipt from the till and they will deduct it. Here you can't do that. So what we do at Mercadona, for example, we've set an online account up. We either order the food in on a delivery shop, or if I have to physically go in, I say if we're in town, at the end of the scan, I tell the cashier I'm self-employed. What they do then is put in your NIE number. They'll do an invoice, a full factor invoice for you to print off. That is for your HESTA. I'll be honest with you, people, I made a big mistake when we first started up. I didn't realise that. And for 3 months, I got all my receipts in. I was quite proud of myself because I'm normally not very organised. I got them in. I looked at the HESTA, took one look at them and said, 0, and threw them in the bin. And I'm like, what's wrong? I said, you can't do receipts in Spain. I said, but in England. And he said, you're not in England now, Stephen, you're in Spain. And he said, it's got to be a full factura. I'm like, okay. And I lost about €90, I think. But that's another thing. But what I can do, if you want Skatz at some point, maybe later on today, I can get a copy of what my invoice is, an example, and then I can put it on your page, and that is how you do an invoice. And once you write it out, you just switch people's details, do your counting, and that works perfectly, if you want me to.
Brilliant. Yes, please. Yeah, drop it in the comments below. That would be perfect. And everybody
Absolutely fine.
Good. So, expenses. Is that easy
Expenses.
to
It is. It's easy for you because your Hester does it all, but it does help knowing. From a bed and breakfast perspective, we get 30% off electric, 30% off water and gas, also 30% off any subscriptions that are relevant to the bed and breakfast. That could be a sports channel package, for example. It could be Netflix. It can be that. It depends. I must stress that. Also, anything to do with the business, your food as well. With regards to food, it's just the IVA you're charged at the supermarket, and that gets deducted off as well. If you need a car, say if you're a painter and decorator, it's similar. You can get 30% off your internet. You can also get 30% off any person who's doing an activity for you. Say they're making up a website and they charge you, you can get 30% off for that as well. Petrol is 50%. And the same rules apply. Every time you fill up, you have to tell them you're self-employed, give them a your NIE number, they will do a full factura, and you get 50% back in your petrol expenses as well.
Okay. And you don't have to have like an online account with them. You just ask.
Just a factura. That's okay with them. With the supermarkets, easier because they bill you automatically. It's just, especially for people from the UK, if you just get a receipt, they're just no good. It's got to be a factura. It can be a pain when you first move here, but once you get used to it, it's actually it's like a second. It's just like you don't even think about it. You just say, Autonomo por favor, factura por favor. You go, see, they'll print out a proper factura, give you that, but the receipts, they'll just go, nope.
It's interesting when I was talking to Antonio 2 weeks ago on the program, he was saying you've got to get the distinction very much between an invoice and a bill. He said,
yes,
you don't call it an invoice when it's an invoice from somebody else to you. That's a bill.
Yes.
He said, don't get them confused. So that's important for our viewers to know.
That is the perfect way to describe it. If you come to my bed and breakfast next week, Skatz, and stay for a night, it's €30, for example. For me, my copy is my invoice. The minute I give it to you, it's the bill. And if that is, something, I'll remember that one for myself because that's actually really good to remember it. And then vice versa, if I stopped at you, it's an invoice for you, but for me, that's my bill. So yeah, it's just, I think for your viewers, if there's one thing they could take away from this, well, a few things, just not receipts. Don't make my mistake. Receipts are useless.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So anything else? Any other hints and tips you can give us?
Yeah. Especially with being self-employed. Keep 2 folders, which I personally do. I am pretty dyslexic, to be honest with you. I have my invoice folders and I have my bills. What I did for Antonio, I thought I'd help him. I did a covering letter with how much I charged and how much I'd got back. To be honest with you, he's not that bothered. He just does it himself. And then what he does then, if you owe VAT, he'll just give you a text message. Hi, Stephen, you owe this much. Do you mind if I pay on your behalf? Yeah, of course, mate, no problem. And he'll pay through the bank. If you're happy with that, he'll just go into your bank account and pay it. Being self-employed here, it is good. It's excellent. Working for yourself. Once you work for yourself, you'll never want to work for anyone else again, to be honest with you. Yeah. Obviously, you have to be a bit more on point with your finances because obviously when you're PAYE, they do your taxes and things for you. That is where the Hester comes in. A bit of advice for you people, don't try doing it on your own because it isn't easy. It is worth paying €100 a quarter to a Hester. He or she will take the pain out of it. And the Hesters here, they're good at other things as well. Whether it's anything to do with your house or anything. It's very rare you just meet a bookkeeper here who do taxes. They have the fingers in a lot of pies. So they're very helpful on that front as well. So that is the big tip from that. I've known people try and do it themselves, and it goes a bit Pete Tong straight away. It's not as simple as in the UK. However, for us, we don't know, because Hester takes all the pain away.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been told that. Yeah, there are one or two who do it on their own, but they're very, very simple, where they only have like one or two receipts, and not receipts, but invoices a month. So for them, it's a piece of cake. But even then, filling out the form is not that easy. If you get one thing wrong on the form, they pick up on it, and they can fine you an enormous amount.
I'll be honest with you, you've hit the nail right on the head. That's why we've got Antonio, because knowing my luck, I've put a dot wrong somewhere and you get fined. That's another tip. Thank you for reminding me. Make sure your tax affairs are always in order. Never pay late. Never get your paperwork wrong. They will fine you. They won't give you a second chance. You'll just get a fine, and they'll just put it on. And if you don't pay the fine, next thing you know, it starts compounding. And your €50 fine, next thing you know, it's €250. They don't care. Now, the present government, they have stripped the fines down quite nicely. They've done very well, but they're still lurking. They're still there. So even that alone is worth the investment of a good Hester.
You don't mess with the tax man.
Not in this place. No. They jump on you like a rash.
There we go then. Anything else before we sign up and round off?
If you are coming here to be self-employed, especially in my line of business, enjoy it. Enjoy living here. Spain is a wonderful country. Spain has many, many opportunities. Yes, Spain isn't perfect. Nowhere is. However, the lifestyle, what we talked about a few weeks ago, Skatz, you can't beat that. You can't beat the lifestyle here. You can't beat the friendliness. For example, just before we came on, my neighbour has just come with a bag full of chard, tomatoes, cucumbers, aubergines, and I've got a bag full of vegetables from my neighbour's garden. She was out picking it at 7 o'clock this morning. You can't get much fresher than that. Business, enjoy working here with your business. Enjoy the Spanish lifestyle. And please, if you are here and you want to enjoy it, become Spanish in your way of living. That is the best thing. Some people make a mistake of being very expatish. I want to work 9 till 5. I want to do that. It's 39 degrees out there today. I'm not working at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's for sure. Embrace it. But feel free, if anyone's got any questions after this, feel free to inbox me on Facebook or through Skatz. But I hope everyone's got a lot of things from this. Basically, to top it off, if you're EU, setting up as self-employed is very simple. Non-EU, difficult.
There you go. Nicely rounded up. Thank you for that. So yes, if you have any more questions, people, then of course ask directly or ask in the comments below. We'll get you the answers you need. So I'm going to let you go now, Stephen. It's been
thank you very much.
Pleasure.
As always, sir.
Only 11 weeks to go, and we'll be seeing you in the flesh, as it were.
Can't wait, mate. I've got drinks in there.
Yeah, no, I've seen the picture of the bar. We were going to get a picture of who's it called, Valak.
Give us 2 minutes if you want. I'll show you Valak.
Yeah, Valak. This is a new addition to the bar, everybody, which has been amusing everybody. I suggested putting this picture up in the bedrooms, which would scare everybody out of their minds. But we look forward to this immensely. We're going to say goodbye to Stephen in a minute. But here we go. This is Valak. Fabulous. Brilliant.
Yes, we're conjuring fans, viewers. So there we are.
Brilliant. Okay then. So we'll say goodbye for now. Everybody say goodbye to Stephen. Thank you so much. There we go. There you have it. If you've gained some insight from this video, then do click on the thumbs up if you haven't already. next week on the Spanish Breakfast Show will be something new and exciting. Oh yes, I'll be talking to Rochelle DeWitt. She runs a Facebook group called Ask Rochelle, which gives out up-to-the-minute advice about all of the things that expats and would-be expats need to know. So the show will be like a news report with live questions from all of you. How exciting is that? So join us for that next Saturday at the usual time of 9:30 if you're in the UK or Ireland, 10:30 if you're in Spain. And don't forget to check out the Liz and Skatz channel. And of course, we broadcast usually on Wednesdays. We've not been broadcasting recently on Wednesday evenings, but as we move closer to moving to Spain, we will start that up again. But we have loads of videos on there that have charted our progress up until now and what we've been doing and losing loads and loads of weight over the time as we build up to going to Spain. Check out U2 Yoga and U2 Aromatherapy. All of the links to that and the merchandise page are all down below this video in the description. So that's all for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell. Ding! And if you haven't already, then I'll see you soon. Peace and love. See you next week. Bye for now.